flames. So once they breached and came outside the windows, there was just no way for us to get around it.
A South Padre Island restaurant picking up the pieces tonight after an early morning fire. Hello and welcome to CBS 4 Valley at 6. I'm Chris Jacobs.
And I'm Faith Woodard. We are following developing news after another fire has left a valley treasure in ashes. Tonight, flames destroyed Pier 19 on South Padre Island.
Take a look at what's left. Firefighters tell us they got the call just after 1 this morning. Officials say the flames burst through windows, making it hard to tame.
Several agencies responded to the fire, including Los Fresnos, Laguna Madre, Port Isabel, and the Coast Guard.
There was no injuries reported. One of the boat captains had a laceration to his hand, but that was minor. There was no transports to the hospital. We were told that there was people possibly inside the building.
Now, 2 boats were docked by the restaurant, but firefighters were able to find the captains and get them away safely. Officials are still working to learn what started the fire.
The owner of the restaurant can't believe it's now just a pile of ashes. Continuing our coverage tonight is CBS 4's Marco Ramirez. He joins us live with reaction and history behind the well-known restaurant. Marco.
Well, Chris and Faith, the owner tells me Pier 19 was actually a fishing pier before becoming a restaurant. As you can see behind me, the fire is actually reignited at this hour, and people who came to this popular restaurant say they are devastated.
Walked down to about where the tape is and could see that Pier 19 was on fire.
Rob Goff and his wife Pam live in the RV park right next door to Pier 19 and saw their beloved restaurant go up in flames. But it wasn't just the building they were devastated about.
But I'll tell you, the second thing I really thought about is how many people worked there and didn't have a place to go to work today. That's another sad part.
That's
of it.
a tragedy.
Really is, yeah.
That's a tragedy.
Because that's going to hurt some families.
Owner Scott Freeman says before becoming a restaurant in 2007, the facility was a fishing pier in the early 1990s. Despite this loss, Freeman says the community has shown up to help.
We've been fortunate to have a lot of friends that we've made through the years. We've enjoyed their business. We appreciate, and it's very, very noticeable at a time like this how much and well appreciated this business was.
Since the building was itself built in the 1950s, officials say that played a big role in the fire spreading so fast. And while a cause has not been determined, Freeman says his biggest priority is his staff.
Well, our first hope is for the foremost the displaced staff members that have lost their jobs, affects them economically, financially. We're a big concern for them and how they're going to create a new future going forward.
And even though scorched debris remains, there's still hope the restaurant will be rebuilt.
Of course, that would be our ultimate goal and dream, but we'll just have to take every day as they come.
We'll be back South Padre Island.
And we actually may eat there a little more frequently next time.
Just to appreciate it.
Yeah.
And tip a little better.
And Freeman says he's also grateful no one was hurt here, and we're also still working to get more information on the status of this fire. Working for you on South Padre Island tonight, I'm Marco Ramirez.
All right, Marco, thank you. And other members of the community are sharing their accounts of the fire. One South Padre Island resident tells us they could smell the smoke early this morning, and when they realized where that fire was, they were stunned. Pier 19 was known as a place to gather with friends or even watch the dolphins. One resident says she's crushed by the news.
One of the things I enjoyed about the place was being able to look at the old pictures. And there were a lot of old pictures of the island, which are very, well, they're fun to look at because I grew up down here. I grew up coming here and I lived here in the 70s. And so going into places locally that have those old photographs of what the island was back then, that's fun. And I think that those are hard to replace.
Now, today's fire marks the 3rd major fire to impact local businesses in the last few months. Just a few weeks ago, a fire broke out at Stefano's in Harlingen. That fire started upstairs where all the food, drinks, and administrative offices were. Shortly after that, a fire broke out at Matt's Hardware in Farr. Both stores are in the process of rebuilding. Matt's has opened a temporary storefront and plans to fully reopen next year. Stefano's also announcing plans to resume business in Harlingen at Steve's Food Mart on Business 83 in Harlingen tomorrow afternoon. Well, Chief Meteorologist Brian Hale joining us right now. Brian, I know we're always talking about wind as it pertains to fires.
Yeah, it's not like a candle on a cake. The wind that you produce overwhelms the fire and blows it out. But a situation like this, the wind not only brings oxygen to the fire, it also pulls the exhaust away from the fire. So this thing is now thriving, and in fact, as you saw in the report, is now has reignited because any ember inside of some of that old pier lumber is just just going to be bathed in oxygen as this wind now out of the north comes on through. But last night, it's 1 a.m., 28 to 30 mile an hour winds out of the south-southeast. So yeah, that fire was getting plenty of fresh oxygen in which to flourish, as you saw in the video, and the damage subsequent. So again, that was a big player there with the wind, and things look pretty hazy from one end of the valley to the other. The frontal boundary that wasn't supposed to move through did move through and made a complete shambles of my forecast. We're going to talk about that and where we go from here coming up.
Brian, thank you. In Texas politics, the primary elections are less than a week away, and the candidates for Texas Senate District 27 are sharing the issues they plan to tackle if elected. Four Democratic candidates are hoping to earn the seat of retiring Senator Eddie Lucio Jr. Candidates include District 37 Rep. Alex Dominguez, Attorney Sarah Stapleton Barrera, and Attorney Morgan LaMantia, and business owners Solomon Torres. We spoke with each candidate on what they hope to accomplish.
We need to improve our medical systems. We have a number of people that have been affected by COVID. But besides that, we have a lot of people that have diabetes, heart disease. We have a lot of obesity in this area. We need to be working harder to find a better solution to improve our medical needs.
One critical step we can take is we can pass Medicaid expansion. We need to reduce the overcrowding of our emergency rooms because as we saw in the business and as we've seen elsewhere, preventive care helps not only with costs and measures, but it keeps people healthier.
We always feel behind and neglected. I mean, even when COVID hit and, they started sending supplies all over the state, we were last to receive supplies. So what matters to me as a native Brownsvillian is that we need to be thought of first.
Access to healthcare continues to be a frustrating problem for policymakers down here and for the medical profession as they continue to see people not making improvements with whether it's with their weight or with their diabetes or just different conditions.
Tonight at 10, CBS 4's Adam Cardona will have more from all four Democratic candidates.
Our coverage of the Texas Attorney General race continues tonight. CBS 4's Monica Madden introduces us to longtime attorney and former Galveston Mayor Joe Jaworski, who says if incumbent Ken Paxton is nominated again, his ongoing legal issues could give Democrats a real shot at flipping the seat blue in November.
I'm supporting Joe because he's not indicted and he actually cares about us.
Experience matters in the office of the Texas Attorney General.
Democrat Joe Jaworski says his 3 decades of litigating makes him the best person to serve as Texas's chief lawyer.
You're going to go up against some powerful interests, so you better have had a lot of experience in court.
I'm asking for your vote.
While Jaworski says he has the chops to win big cases, he wants to reframe the office with less focus on suing the federal government.
We need an attorney general who's on the side of the people as a broad concept, as opposed to politically winning and losing and picking who the winner and loser is.
Specifically, the trial attorney wants the AG's office to hold private healthcare insurance companies accountable.
This is a way that we can help Republicans, Democrats, and independents alike. We'll use the attorney general's investigation powers as well as litigation to make them pay health care claims reasonably and on time.
On a particularly partisan issue, the border, Jaworski says he wants practical, attainable solutions, like enlisting Texas's third-year law students and helping speed up asylum claims.
When we do that, we will clear out the backlog and the border will be ours again.
General's office.
We'll have more about Jaworski and his approach at clearing up legal issues at the border over on our website. That's valleycentral.com. Tomorrow we'll highlight Republican turned Democrat candidate Mike Fields, an Army veteran and former judge. Repairs on the way coming up. Upcoming road closures you'll need to know about before making a trip.
You're watching CBS 4 News, working for you at 6. With Chris Jacobs, Faith Woodard, Chief Meteorologist Brian Hale, and sports with Ruben Juarez.
A man has been charged in connection to a deadly crash that occurred on Tuesday in McAllen. 22-year-old Lou Gomez is facing a manslaughter charge and a second-degree felony. The charge involved 3 vehicles near the 6300 block of South McCall Road. Police say an 85-year-old man, later identified as Francisco Quillada, died from his injuries. 5 other individuals from a separate vehicle were transported to a hospital for emergency care. San Benito drivers, listen up. TxDOT maintenance will close Highway 69 southbound overnight. That starts tonight at 9 through tomorrow morning for pavement repair. Southbound traffic will be redirected, and drivers should expect delays and are advised to follow all posted warning signs.
News Nation Prime is one of the only live national newscasts to air during prime time, and it comes your way each night at 7. We've got a look ahead at what you can expect tonight.
Tonight on Dan Abrams Live on News Nation. This guy has more than 20 million views.
The capital city of Kiev is relatively calm.
Meet the reporter who's been covering the situation in Ukraine in 6 different languages. That's tonight on Dan Abrams Live.
Faith said I could do that. Anyways, making it big. Coming up in CBS 4 Sports, a former Valley quarterback selected first overall in the USFL draft. Those details in just a bit.
We're looking into the colder air that has made its way into the valley. That's right now, folks. Upper 40s, low 50s. Tell you what, wear a jacket if you go outside. My forecast is next.
We're going back to South Padre Island, where the fire at Pier 19 has reignited.
We go now live to CBS 4's Marco Ramirez with more. Marco.
Well, guys, right now, as you can see, it's still extremely windy here on the island, and that started the fire to reignite here at Pier 19. Let me show you what it looks like right now. Now, the fire has gone down a little bit. There's still some chars on the pier, on the other side of the bridge that are left. Now, fire officials have been out here all day, and when this fire reignited earlier today, when the wind picked up, they really couldn't get to it because the bridge to get to that part of the pier was actually destroyed from the first fire early this morning. But right now, the scene seems to have calmed down a little bit, and the wind has really started picking up here these past couple of hours. But I'm going to send it back over to Chief Meteorologist Brian Hale to talk about more about these windy conditions here out on the island. Brian?
Well, our winds are again out of the north, primarily across much of the valley, but still on the other side of a frontal boundary out of the southeast and stronger along the coast. That's one reason that fire has managed to reignite, is all of that oxygen conveyed by that strong southeast wind is helping to reignite any of the sparks or any of the embers that may be left over. So they're still having to contend with that. The rest of the Rio Grande Valley has to contend with just feeling a lot cooler on the back of that north wind, on the back of this storm system. This front was not supposed to come through today. This was supposed to hang up toward Laredo and then come through when the second one kind of met up with it and then pushed the whole thing through. That didn't happen. The first one ended up just barreling right on through. High pressure was supposed to stop that and prevent this thing from sliding through the valley, but it didn't work. So we end up with the gate open and the north wind coming on in and cooler conditions across the valley. Cloudy out there, little patchy drizzle every now and again. You might have to turn the wipers on once or twice. It's 32 in San Antonio. 42 in Kingsville, and still 50 at Harlingen at this hour. 46 overnight tonight with lots of clouds and just the occasional little splash of drizzle. When you go out the door tomorrow morning, have a jacket. You know, we're only going to top out at about 60 tomorrow, so temperatures in the 40s and lots of clouds to start your day. It means, yeah, a jacket is required for the start, even for much of the day. 60 degrees and an east wind finally. That's what's going to help get us to even 60, is the east wind and some sunshine for tomorrow. And temperatures across the state of Texas will remain on the cool side for the most part as that first storm system makes its way on toward, say, Kentucky. The tail of it will continue to push on down past the valley, but we'll manage with our east wind to get around 60 degrees. Here you go. Precipitation trend shows that we have another shot with that second front you saw out in the desert. That one's coming on in and setting us up for a chance for rain come the weekend. Yeah, and temperatures will remain cool all the way through the weekend. We're not going to get a break till next week. This is the next weather maker. Again, it was supposed to be two fronts kind of just slopping into one another and then passing through, but nope. The first one made its way on down. It's stalling out across the southern part of the lower valley, and then look what happens tomorrow. It sort of whips back north. This is what allows that east-southeast wind to warm us up to about 60 tomorrow. And that's all we got, because then that second part of the front comes through. That's Friday morning, 4 a.m., and now the front generates a few showers, maybe some rumbles of thunder offshore, and then sets us up for lingering showers throughout Friday and the weekend. Look at Friday afternoon's temperatures, upper 40s, low 50s. The severe threat's pretty much non-existent for the valley. Storm Prediction Center puts the chance for general rumbles of thunder offshore for Thursday night to Friday morning, and that's it. Now, Friday is going to be another dreary day, and we're going to have plenty of clouds. And at parade time, temperatures in the low 50s, north winds, and not so nice. So wear your jacket and bring your best attitude, because I know that we'll get through this and we'll have a great parade no matter the weather conditions. The weekend, with the cooler air in place, now upper level moisture is going to stream across the valley and provide fuel for drizzle and light showers on occasion Saturday and Sunday. So that's going to be the lingering shower and drizzle activity setup, is that moisture helping to fuel all of that on and through Sunday. So you see, we don't warm up much either day because of the cloud cover and because of the patchy drizzle out there. Overnight lows will be in the 40s. And all this talk of drizzle and light showers doesn't add up to much, anywhere from ½ an inch to maybe 3/4 of an inch along the coast. But the 7-day forecast shows that we will see improvement next week once we get past Monday. But again, temperatures and conditions for Friday's parade in Brownsville won't be the best, but the parade will go on.
It will go on, and like you said, just have a good attitude and we'll make it through it. It won't be an issue.
That's right.
All right, Brian, thank you. Coming up next in sports, we'll check in with the UTRGV baseball team, plus a former Valley quarterback selected first overall in the USFL draft. We'll tell you who after the break.
Now, Valley Sports Central.
Hey there, hope you're having a good evening. The UTRGV baseball team impressed on opening weekend. Vaqueros starting the season with a 3-game sweep against George Washington in Game 1. Vaqueros pitcher Brandon Stevens threw a gem on Saturday. They won 7-1. On Sunday, the Vaqueros unleashed their power at the plate, hitting 4 home runs en route to a 23-3 victory. Reflecting on the opening series, Vaqueros coach Derek Matlock says souvenirs flying over the outfield wall could be a common theme this season.
Whole evaluation of it, it looks like our lineup's going to have some power, and our stadium doesn't play for that, to be honest. But a lot of teams in our conference, Tarleton, Sam Houston State, Lamar, it does. So New Mexico State in the non-conference. So yeah, it's nice to see the power. Power's big, man. If you can hit a home run, you score. You know, it takes multiple hits sometimes to score, but a home run gives you a run real quick. So it was good. I think we showed a lot of power.
Up next for the Vaqueros, a road trip to Houston where they'll face Texas Southern and the Houston Cougars' first game on Friday afternoon. On the hardwood, both UTRGV basketball teams playing tomorrow night. The men will play at Tarleton. The women will play against the Texans in Edinburgh. Coach Lane Lord's ladies still have a shot at finishing in the top 4, which would give them a double bye at the WAC tournament. In high school hoops, more than a dozen boys teams moving on to the second round of the playoffs. In 6A, Harlingen, one of the teams advancing, the Cardinals, took care of business last night at home, edging Edinburgh North 49-44. Up next for the Cards, Laredo Nixon in Roma on Friday night. In Class 4A, Raymondville beat Calallen by 10. The Bearcats' next game tomorrow night in Alice against San Antonio Young Men's Academy. Most Valley teams will play their area-round games on Friday night. Here's a look at some of the matchups. In 6A, Wesco taking on San Antonio Brennan in Laredo. Vela plays Laredo United in Zapata. In 5A, Pace and Flower Bluff will clash in Kingsville, and McAllen Memorial will take on Laredo Martin in Rio Grande City. In pro basketball, the Vipers in action tonight. After a 6-day break, RGV on the road facing the Texas Legends. Game tipping off at 7. We'll have highlights tonight at 10. RGV will be back in the Valley on Friday. And in pro football, a former Valley quarterback taken number 1 in the USFL draft. Former Hidalgo QB Shea Patterson drafted first overall by the Michigan Panthers. Patterson, who played collegiately at Ole Miss and Michigan, was signed by the Kansas City Chiefs when he came out of college as an undrafted free agent in 2020. He was waived before the start of the regular season. Last year, he played in the Canadian League. The USFL's regular season kicks off in mid-April. So good for him. Been about 10 years or so since he played in the Valley, but good to see him still playing.
Yeah, he's still doing really well, and we're also might be having some football year-round, it looks like, so that's pretty cool.
Let's see if this league can kind of stick around. A lot of these leagues come for a year or two and then disappear, so hopefully this one can actually stick around for a while.
That would be really nice. What else would be really nice is if we didn't have to deal with rain chances and a cold front for Charo days, but, you know, reality bites.
We got to deal with it right now, as a matter of fact, and you can see that we're talking about much cooler conditions. Overnight we'll be down into the upper 40s, and more than likely again for Friday morning. And you can see, so tomorrow morning, wear your jacket, and then Friday it's going to be chilly to start and really cool throughout the day with that chance for light showers and, you know, patchy drizzle, and that runs into the weekend with more moisture coming across the valley. Temperatures will be stuck in the low 60s.
Yeah, but once we get past the weekend, we're in the clear.
That's right.
That's the good news. Got to stay optimistic. All right, that's our time for now. We'll be back here at 10.